Inspecting the damage he had just caused and resigning himself to the notion that his day couldn't possibly worsen, Simon Marks knelt on the driveway and peered beneath his car. Just as he was about to get a closer look at the concrete pavers, a chilling sound reached his ears, causing his heart to plummet into his chest. What had he discovered? When purchasing a new home, you're often in the dark about what lies ahead. At 37 years old, Simon couldn't pass up the opportunity to buy a house at a bargain price in Luton, England. With the paperwork swiftly completed and the transfer already in progress, he never questioned why the previous owner was so eager to sell. Months later, Simon eagerly unpacked his belongings, thrilled to spend his first night in the new house. After a grueling weekend of moving, he collapsed into bed, exhausted. Imagining the ease of his shorter commute, he set his alarm for 8 a.m. and drifted off to sleep. Yet as he lay in the darkness, a peculiar noise caught his attention. Holding his breath, he listened closely. Again the sound came, a dull, muted scraping, reminiscent of gravel against metal. Intrigued, he peeked out the window, scanning the garden below. Everything was still. Silence reigned once more. Shrugging off his unease, he climbed back into bed, unaware of the unsettling changes occurring beneath his new home. The following morning, Simon reversed his black Vauxhall Zafira out of the driveway. But instead of moving backward, the car lurched forward. Frustrated, he tried again, only to find the wheel caught on something. With a burst of acceleration, the car finally jolted backward, and Simon let out a sigh of relief. However, when he got out to investigate what had been trapped under the front wheel, his stomach churned in horror. Kneeling down for a closer look, Simon saw that the driveway pavers had cracked. As he watched in disbelief, the driveway began to give way. He jumped back as the pavers shattered with a sickening snap, and the concrete crumbled, falling into the abyss below. As the dust settled, the widening crack in the ground revealed something deeply unsettling. Although Simon knew his house had been built in the 1970s by the elderly couple who had lived there before him, this discovery was nowhere to be found on the house plans. Once he was confident it was safe to approach, he lay on his stomach and edged closer to the gap. Noticing a glint of metal among the exposed earth, he retrieved a trowel and started to dig. The dirt yielded easily, and soon a piece of metal emerged from the soil. He continued to dig, trying to free it with his hands, but the rusted object resisted his efforts. Determined, Simon decided to dig around the mysterious metal to loosen it. As he uncovered more of it, he realized it was attached to something larger. Initially, he feared the black void might be a giant sinkhole threatening to swallow his car and even his house. But as he glimpsed more of the man-made object beneath, he knew he was dealing with something far more sinister. He pulled out his phone and called for help. His father, Gerald, rushed to the scene. Without professional tools or equipment, they carefully removed the cracked concrete surrounding the metal piece, revealing a rectangular hole in the ground. At the bottom of the hole, a rusty ladder descended into the darkness. Unease began to settle in. Why was the secret passageway concealed beneath the driveway? Where did it lead? There was only one way to find out. Before purchasing the old house, Simon had conducted thorough research. He knew that ordnance surveys wouldn't reveal the hidden passageway beneath his driveway. According to the reports, the area had been nothing but empty land before the home was constructed. As they began their excavation, a shiver of apprehension ran down Simon's spine. They dug through shovelful after shovelful of densely packed mud, transporting it in buckets. The growing pile of earth beside them became a testament to their relentless efforts. After several hours of meticulous work, they had removed about 5 feet of dirt, creating enough space to descend the ladder and explore the passageway. What they discovered promised to illuminate the house's eerie history. As Simon descended halfway down the ladder, an uneasy sensation washed over him. Doubts gnawed at him. What if it wasn't safe? He hurried back to the house to grab his selfie stick. With his phone securely attached, he lowered it into the hole. The phone screen revealed that the underground passage concealed 2 rooms. Gerald immediately recognized something familiar, but they needed confirmation before proceeding further. Simon had purchased the property for around $500,000, but he soon discovered that the land had a history long before the house was built. The elderly man who sold him the home had been the original owner, yet he had failed to disclose the secret hidden beneath the driveway. The unsettling noises Simon had heard the previous night were the sounds of the earth finally giving way and revealing a concealed room below. With a growing sense of urgency, Simon and his father paused their excavation and began investigating. They looked up the plot number and quickly uncovered some startling details. The land had been vacant before the previous owners, but its strategic location and the timing of the house's construction suggested something significant. Gerald was quick to identify the underground space as an air raid shelter. "We Googled it and discovered there are quite a few such shelters in this area," Simon explained. Further research revealed that the shelter had been constructed during World War II. "The previous owner must have known about it," Simon told reporters. "When he built the house and landscaped the garden, he must have filled it in to hide it." In 1938, as World War II loomed, Sir John Anderson was assigned the crucial task of preparing Britain for the war. His mission was to devise a strategy to safeguard the population from the anticipated bombings and attacks. Anderson's solution was to construct a network of air raid shelters, including the one hidden beneath Simon's driveway. Sir John Anderson and his team of engineers designed inexpensive and straightforward underground shelters that could be easily installed in people's backyards. Their proximity allowed British citizens to seek refuge at a moment's notice. Constructed from lightweight, flexible metal, these shelters were a practical alternative to concrete. More than 2 million of these bomb shelters were dispersed across the country. However, what Simon discovered was not one of Anderson's designs. Upon examining the chamber, Gerald could immediately discern that it wasn't an Anderson-style shelter. Although it had been built around 1938, not long after a bomb fell near Luton, it was clear that this shelter was different. When news spread that their small city was now a target, the frightened residents rallied to create a more robust community shelter capable of withstanding air raids. The shelter Simon and Gerald uncovered featured at least 2 rooms and was constructed from brick and concrete, starkly different from the Anderson shelters. As they continued to excavate, they unearthed intriguing artifacts. In one of the concealed rooms, they discovered a World War II-era newspaper clipping from the Herald. The headline read, "Luton Airport, is this the end?" And the articles provided a rare glimpse into daily life in war-torn Britain. Additionally, they found evidence that the shelter had once been stocked with food and water, intended to sustain occupants for extended periods. "It's incredible to think it was all made by hand," Simon later remarked to reporters. The concrete walls of the underground shelter had been reinforced with brick and mortar, providing additional protection from potential air raids. But even after Simon and Gerald unearthed this monumental find, their work was far from over. "It's been a relentless process of digging," Simon explained. "We're about 5 feet down now, and there's still another 5 feet to go before we're done. We'll probably need to hire a skip to manage all the debris." Their efforts led to another intriguing discovery. One of the walls had been bricked up. "I'm 90% sure we won't find any additional rooms beyond this, but we can't be certain. They might have bricked it up during the house's construction to accommodate the foundations," Simon told reporters. "If that's the case, we'll just have to leave it as is," he added. The discovery quickly went viral. As Simon and his father continued their excavation, news reporters and curious neighbors flocked to the driveway to witness the historic find. Despite the growing attention, Simon remained focused on his true purpose. He wasn't interested in fame. He felt a deep responsibility to his country's history. Simon was determined to ensure that this piece of history was not forgotten. He planned to restore and preserve the shelter, hoping it would be recognized as a significant historical monument. "Even though the war is long over, that period in history should never be buried and forgotten," Simon said. He envisioned future generations visiting the shelter, gaining insight into an important chapter of their past. Well, guys, what are your thoughts? Do tell us, and don't forget to share and subscribe now. Thanks for watching.